So I'm putting some sugar bricks inside this hive. It's above 0 today, and it's a good time to do it. Just as the rain is coming down, so it's great. Hopefully it won't pour, but a few flecks of rain are going to kill me. Just going to stick just a bit of smoke in there. It looks like a lot of smoke, but hardly any of that's getting into the hive. So, this is a ventilation rim. A little bit of insulation there. I don't know if that's doing any good, but whatever. And we got some holes right here these are ventilation holes that I have inside the rim. This ventilation has proved to be a good thing for me in my climate. And here we go. This is a about 4 kilogram brick of sugar, and I've got a pollen patty stuck on the bottom of it. It's a kind of an old pollen patty that's been in the freezer for a while, so I don't know, it's probably lost some of its nutritional value and they might just ignore it, but we'll see. In any case, this colony is a 2 medium colony, or pretty much like a single deep, I suppose, and I don't think they've got a lot of I don't think it's a strong colony. I got flames coming out of my smoker, but anyway, here we go. A little bit of a poof there. Hopefully they're in a good mood. There we go. Yeah, there's the cluster. I'm just gonna knock them back just a little bit, because I want to put the sugar brick right on top of them. And this is pretty disruptive to do this in the middle of the winter. Like, they're not going down, right? Come on, go down. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. All right, I'll give them a minute. I'm going to close the top off. I don't want too much heat coming out. This is kind of cool. This is that's the comb that they've built over the inner cover hole. And there's just a little pathway for one bee to get through. Pretty neat. So I'm going to drop this brick on. Yeah, they're not going down, so I'm just going to be very careful with it. I'm going to put this, see if I can just get them out of the way a little bit, but boy, they're not going down. Whoops, bit of sparks came out. Whoop, that's not good. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to give them a good hit of smoke here. There we go, they're going down. That's really, there we go, that worked. Oh, great. This I don't know about this pollen patty. Anyway, there's that, and here's the sugar. Squish it down. Perfect. Done. I did that as quick as I could, and hopefully they'll recover from that soon. But that's a lot of sugar, and you can see they're clustered right here. And there is some honey here, but there's not a lot of honey on that edge there and on these edges here. So I think they're running out of honey. Running a little low, so done. And while I'm at it, let's just see if it's damp inside. No, it's a little damp, but it's not wet. So they're doing okay. Let's see, the inside of the inner cover is dry. So, I mean, sometimes it'll feel damp because it's cold, but it's not actually wet, and that's kind of normal. You know, there's always a little bit of, it's normal from what I can tell. And there's always a little bit of moisture in the hive. You're not going to completely dry it out. And I think my system here works pretty well. I am tempted to just pull this out. You know what, I'm going to do that. Hold on. I want more moisture and condensation to escape from that hole, so I want to block it up. So that's it. And the rain has stopped, and perhaps throughout this video I've already inserted some photos of these bricks and how I made these bricks, but basically I just did 12 parts sugar, 1 part water. Mixed it all up with a bit of, just in a couple drops of I think what I had lemongrass oil, but you can use almost any kind of essential oil. You can use mint, you can use vanilla. It all works, or none. Or you can put a little bit of honey in there too, and it gets the flavor of honey throughout the sugar, so the bees recognize that even more so as a food source. And that's a lot of sugar, and that should keep them alive for a little while. And I'm gonna block up this this top entrance because they've got an entrance down here that is covered by a yogurt container for shelter, and I saw the bees coming and going today, and they can smell the pheromones coming up from the bottom of that, so it seems to be working out okay. It's an experiment, but it's cheap and easy to create that little bit of shelter for them, and I think it works. And there we go. I'm going to do that with at least one more hive that I have, and this is the other brick that I created, and I've got these. I got pieces of a pollen patty in here, and I don't think that really worked that well. It just falls off. It's not actually sticking to it. I didn't have any powder pollen or anything like that, so I just put it in like that. And anyway, we'll see what happens. If they don't like it, they just won't eat it. And yeah, beekeeping on a budget in a cold, wet climate called Newfoundland. Alright, so this is a hive. You can see the bees are clustering up top, and it's not a strong colony. And I had this part taped up, and you can see it's wet, it's moist, because the tape, this here tape, seems to have kept the tip. It got loose or whatever, and it's holding moisture into the hive, into the cracks where I'm trying to keep the moisture out. So it's sometimes backfires. Same thing can happen with wraps, various wraps too. The water gets behind it, and it just holds the water in, close to the water, to the wood, and it starts to rot around the edges and the cracks, and kind of defeats the purpose. Wrapping can be tricky, man, and taping and all that stuff can be tricky. I wish some chemical engineer would come up with a spray that you could just spray on these cracks that creates a seal, an organic, a harmless seal that fills in the cracks for the winter. That'd be great. That's a perfect little I don't know. I would buy it. Anyway, so I'm going to try to put that smoke down there and not catch the place on fire. Some sparks coming out. And someone on the internet says, oh, that's not the way to use a smoker. Give me a break. Anyway, I'm going to put this rim on. And then I'm going to put that sugar brick on and hope for the best, as I always do. And I'm doing this today on, I don't know what the date is, January something. And it's warm. The bees are sort of flying around today. It's damp, but it's like 5 degrees or something. This too, by the way, is my cheap smoker. I bought this smoker the first time. It was the first smoker that I bought, and it'll do you, but it's plastic here, and there's other issues with it. I think it's the cheapest one of the cheapest ones you can get, and once you've had the good one, you never really want to go to the cheap ones. I mean, they'll do you. I mean, if you're on a budget, then get the cheapest ones you can get and make do, right? But yeah, the ones with the wooden backs, the Daydont ones, those are the good ones. Anyway, let's see if I can do this. Woo! Yeah, there's a bit of moisture getting into this hive. Alright, this is not a very big cluster. Let's take a look. See that? It's there, but I really don't, and there's, yeah, see, they're running out of honey for sure. All right, oh, that was a good shot because it was zoomed in. Anyway, screw it, let's do it. There's not a lot of bees in there, and I seriously think I'm going to end up having to, yeah, it's a small cluster, and it was always a small cluster. I think I'm just going to end up having to combine this hive in the spring with another colony. Ooh, nice dry hive though, man, really dry. A little bit wet around the edges, because that seems to be where the moisture leaks in sometimes. But there it is. And there we go. That is 4 kilograms of sugar, 12 parts sugar, 1 part water, and maybe, let's smell it. Yeah, I can't smell it. I don't know if I got any kind of thing on there. Anyway, these bees are getting cold, so I'm going to close them up. Listen to the sizzle. Anyway, so this is a homemade top cover. It's a solid cover. There's no notched entrance or anything. And let's see. And I'm throwing it out next season. I've got a few things that I'm going to throw out next season. There's some I don't know what it is, but there's a particular type of plywood that I used that just seems to absorb moisture on the edges like this, and it just rots out. I got a couple bottom boards like that too, and they just get soaked in the wintertime. They just seem to absorb and bring a little bit of dampness into the hives. I mean, they're not soaked or anything. The bees are doing fine, but it does, I don't know, I don't like it. So next year I'm getting rid of a lot of these crappy components that I have, and I'm planning to brush them with beeswax. Coat them with beeswax. I don't have the facilities or the money to make dipped components, which is excellent stuff, but I think I can paint it on, so that's my plan. Anyhow, so there it is. This is it's a bit messy right now, but this is basically, it's a DE hive, or at least the DE hive board, and the entrance is on this side and a few other things, and it's actually a combo of all kinds of things. It's not exactly a DE hive because it's just a DE hive bottom board. But I got the entrance right here, and the top of the hive is there, and this little yogurt is giving us some shelter, and it's allowing excess moisture to come out, but there's still, right above the entrance, there's a layer of just ambient heat sort of staying inside the hive, if ambient is the word for it. And then I take this, which really should be, oh, actually it's not a problem. And this normally would be a ventilation rim, like that, or like that, right? But it's basically a medium super instead. But what I do is I take this pillow full of this burlap pillow full of wood chips. Right, you can see the sugar down there. So if these bees are going to make it, they've got enough food to make it now until the spring, or they should. It's not a big cluster, but we'll see. Anyway, so there's no ventilation up top, and boy, look at this. This is like, see, this one needs extra, hold on a second. Anyway, so there it is. Hold on. Boop. So this is a pillow. Any excess moisture comes up through that hole. Not much heat is going to come up through that hole or escape through this pillow, but when the moisture in a gaseous form, in a vapor, comes up through that hole, it hits the top of this baby, which is a cold, I'm calling it a top cover, but actually it's a bottom board, and that's all I've got. Beekeepers on a budget got to do what they got to do. Anyway, so this is a massive ventilation hole, and so any excess moisture will go up through that pillow, hit that, condense, and then evaporate out there, in theory anyway. Anyway, it seems to be working for me, so I'm not gonna, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I might tape over this stuff because we got some heavy rains coming, and Newfoundland rain seems to be its own special kind of rain that just really seeps into the hives because of high winds and all that jazz. And it just soaks them in and out, right? It's not just the condensation from the bees. Oh, I like this too. This is, these bees, oh, they're getting smoked. That's why they're probably coming out. I wasn't sure if the bees could find their way back using these yogurt container shelters, but they seem to do okay. I've watched them come and go, and they can smell the pheromones of the bees coming out that hole there. Right, see that sort of underneath there? And they find their way back, or they go into the bottom, and that's pretty good. Speaking of wraps, I think I'm going to I might add a wrap to this hive and that hive. They're both in pretty good shape, but I've noticed that there's more dead bees collecting on the bottom of these two hives. And I think oh geez, I think I'm smoking them accidentally here. And I think it might be because they're not wrapped, and there's just more bees naturally dying from the cold. I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm not gonna worry about it too much, but I'm considering giving them a wrap just to see if that reduces the amount of dead bees. It's really, I don't know if it makes a big difference, because it looks like a lot, but it might not be a lot. But I'm considering wrapping them, but they're very sheltered here. They don't get much wind. They're painted black. They're not in bad shape. But I'm considering just wrapping them to see if that reduces the amount of dead bees at this time of year. But it's really cool if you can, let's see if I can do this. Sometimes you can hear the cluster buzzing. There's so much noises. Come on, traffic. Gotta love the ATVs. God, there's a lot of traffic today. I can't hear anything. Huh. Anyway, I've got a microphone that I'm going to hook up to this mic eventually, and we're going to stick a microphone in there. We're going to take a listen. But lately I've been checking out the hives and just listening to the bottom, and you can hear the roar, just the general buzz of the bees staying warm down below, right? And then other times you can hear them, in some hives you can hear them up top. So you can tell just from the sound where the cluster is. And look at this, see? This is another one of these. I'm constantly complaining about this, but it's my pet peeve, I guess. These supers that aren't the same dimensions, and you get these little ledges. This one's like a few millimeters too long, and water comes down here and seeps inside. I mean, it's a pretty tight seal anyway, but that's what causes a lot of moisture to get in, and causes rot, from what I've seen in the past 10 or so years. Let's listen here. No, you can't hear them. But anyway, the one thing about these bees too is this hive doesn't have a pillow, and that one doesn't have a pillow. So I'm going to make a pillow for them too, because I think the pillow things are really working out well. These bees, the hives seem dry, but I'm concerned about this. I'm just wondering about those dead bees in the bottom. Anyway, all this rattling on right now is just going to be probably at the end of the video that people aren't going to watch. The bonus features. Let's see if this guy goes in. Oh, I can hear them. So anyway, I'm going to block up this top entrance. Boy, it's all wet. And so from here to there should be a layer of nice warm air that stays inside the hive. And what stuff isn't, any excess moisture can still go up through the quilt and all that, or to the pillow box and all that. Hold on. So these bees came out. Oh, they're coming out right there, though. That's what's going on. Sort of getting to know you. Interactions there. Yeah, see, if they came out this hole, then they're going to try to go back to that hole. But they might smell the pheromones of the other bees inside the hive coming out this bottom of this yogurt container. Let's just see what happens. See if they find their way home. Yep, they're there. They did it. Here's a little thing too. I know a lot of people do this with a They take a piece of board or something like this, and they lean it up against the top, the front of the hive, sort of like this, to block the wind from going into the bottom entrance. So they still get ventilation, but they don't get strong cold winds blowing in. And you can do that, I guess. I've never done it, but my hives are just they're very sheltered, so I'm not going to worry about that. But you know, that's a thing for sure. All right, let's let this baby roll, and let's just see how long it takes to go out. And I will fast forward this footage right now.